Kiwi Size Chart in Recommender lets you place your size chart exactly where you want on your product page. Whether that's next to the size label, below the variant options, or above the Add to Cart button, Kiwi gives you full control. In this guide, we're going to walk you through how to do that using CSS selectors. In the general settings of Kiwi, under the Display tab, you'll see the option to inject your size chart using a CSS selector. A CSS selector is a rule used in web design to target specific parts of a page, based on their structure, class names, IDs, or position. It works like an address that tells Kiwi exactly where to place your size chart on the page. Kiwi works with three main types of selectors. ID selector, which targets one specific element. Class selector, which targets all elements with the same class. And pseudo-class selectors, which target elements based on their order or position. Kiwi uses a combination of these to pinpoint the correct variant block so your size chart appears right where it belongs. For example, above your size label. Let's take a closer look at which ones to use and which to avoid. In theory, an ID is unique on a page. But in Shopify themes, IDs are dynamically generated based on the product template. You'll see IDs like this. Because these IDs change from product to product, using them will cause the size chart to only appear on this one product and fail to load correctly on others. So instead, we rely on classes and pseudo-classes, which remain consistent across products. Class selectors are the most common. They can appear in multiple places on the page, and they are reused by most themes for every variant picker, such as color, size, and material. That's good because they're consistent. But it also means we can target the size block by class alone. If every variant block uses the same class, we need something more precise on top. This is where pseudo-classes come in. They help Kiwi pick the right variant block based on its position within its parent container. You'll mostly see end of type followed by a number that represents the element's order. In this case, it selects the second matching element. You'll also see last of type, which selects the last matching element. Most stores use last of type because size is usually the last variant. This makes it more flexible, especially if some products have 2 variants and others have 3. We also use these with a child element, like the size label, to tell Kiwi exactly where to place the chart. To make this all clearer, imagine your size chart is a package that needs to be delivered to just the right spot on your product page. You don't want it dropped off randomly. You want it in the perfect place, like right next to the size label or just above it. For that to happen, Kiwi needs a precise delivery address. So here's the picture. Your product page is like an apartment building. Each variant block, like color, size, or material, is a room inside that building. Now, a class helps Kiwi find the right floor. That's helpful, but it's not enough because there might be multiple rooms on the same floor. That's where pseudo-classes come in. They tell Kiwi the room number. So when you build your CSS selector, you're basically giving Kiwi an exact address. Like, go to this specific floor, the class. Find this exact room, the pseudo-class. And deliver the size chart right there. And just like that, your size chart ends up exactly where you want it, no matter what your product layout looks like. Now let's walk through how you'd build one of these selectors yourself. Step 1 is to inspect your product page. Open your product page in Chrome. Then right-click anywhere near your size label and click Inspect, or you can use these shortcuts. That opens up Chrome DevTools, usually docked on the right or bottom of your page. In Step 2, we'll find the parent container for the size variant. In the Elements panel, hover over different HTML lines until you see the size label highlighted on the page. Or, to make it easier, you can just use the little element picker icon to select it from the page directly. You're looking for the variant block that wraps the size options. This gives us 3 classes: JS, which is too generic, so we'll ignore this, product form input, which is very good, reusable class, and product form input pill, also usable, a bit more specific. For most themes, product form input works best as the base class because it applies to each variant block, so we'll usually start from there. Step 3, identify the label element inside the variant block. Expand that parent container in DevTools and look for where the size text actually lives. You might see something like this. Here, the important part is the child class form label. So now we have parent and child classes. For step 4, we'll combine parent and child into one selector. The basic structure is parent greater than child. So this is our selector. This tells Kiwi to find a product form input block, and inside it, find legend form label. If your product has only one variant, just size and nothing else, this selector is perfect as is. But in most stores, you'll have multiple variants, maybe color first, then size second. In that case, we need to tell Kiwi which variant block to use. Let's say color is first and size is second or last. We want the size block. We can do that with a pseudo-class. For example, this means find the last product form input on the page, and inside it, find form label. In most themes, that last variant block is the size one, so this ensures your size chart attaches to size, not color. Alright, now let's look at a couple of placement options so you can choose where the chart appears around your size options. If you'd like the size chart next to the size label, almost like a little size guide link beside it, you can inject it at the end of the label element. Use a selector like this. Then, pair it with a bit of custom CSS to make it sit in line. This keeps the size chart trigger in line with the label and adds a little space so it doesn't feel cramped. Maybe you want the size chart a bit more prominent, for example, above the Add to Cart button. In that case, you can inject after the price per item container. This will place the chart just before the Add to Cart area so shoppers can check their size right before they commit. So to quickly recap, Kiwi uses a combination of classes and pseudo-classes to find the correct spot to add the size chart. We avoid IDs because they change per product. Instead, we build selectors by targeting a stable parent container, then the specific child element inside it. And when there are multiple matching elements, we use pseudo-classes like last of type or nth of type to pick the right one. And then we choose where to inject them. That's it. Once you've done this a couple of times, building these selectors will start to feel second nature.